Prosecutors in Ukraine have brought the first charges of war crimes against 3 individuals accused of deporting Ukrainian children away from their homes to Russia. Officials in Ukraine say they have identified 19,500 children that have been abducted by Russia.
It's the story of a mother's love for her son and desperate attempts to get him back. In October last year, while Tetiana was out, Russians seized 17-year-old Vlad and took him away.
My child left without my knowledge or permission. When I found out he was already there, I was very angry.
Vlad was put in body armour by armed Russian men in balaclavas and taken against his will to be held in camps in occupied territory for the next 8 months.
I missed him and worried about him, especially when there was no communication, when the connection was cut off. I was really concerned. I missed my boy a lot.
Vlad's new life was one of indoctrination by the Russians. In photos he sent his mother, he was beginning to change, taught how to use guns, how to box, here in red in the ring. And there were more worrying signs. Vlad sent her pictures of himself with injuries, a broken leg and finger. There was mental and physical abuse, he says, and when he tried to leave, he was punished.
I felt bad because I didn't like the camp. I was interrogated and asked why I left. I said I wanted to go home, to Ukraine.
The Russians put Vlad into solitary confinement, he says, where he considered killing himself.
It was difficult. 5 days not talking to anyone, and all you see is just someone bringing you food, and you are sitting and thinking what to do. You are just isolated. You don't hear anything. It's like you are deaf. I was thinking about suicide.
Back home, Tetiana asked a charity for help. A handful of mothers plotted to bring back their children. To rescue Vlad, Tetiana would risk a perilous journey, leaving her son and driving to Poland and on to Belarus, then flying to Moscow, and overland through Russia by train to Krasnodar and across Crimea to Luzerne in occupied Ukraine, where she was reunited with her son. Describe the moment when you saw him again in the camp.
Tears. Tears. I was crying. I just hugged him and cried. I didn't have any other emotions, just tears running out of my eyes.
But her ordeal wasn't over. The Russians held Tetiana for 6 days and interrogated her for 10 hours, at times sticking a bag over her head. It must have been terrifying for you.
Yes, every time I think about it, I just want to forget it like a nightmare that never happened. I had lots of different thoughts. I worried that they could have taken me and I would never have returned. I feared I'd never see any of my children again, not just Vlad.
In the end, the Russians let Vlad go with Tetiana. He's back in Ukraine with his family. But his mother's worries haven't ended. Vlad's 8 months in Russian camps have changed him, she says, and he can't open up about what really happened there.
It pains me deeply that I've come all this way and he just pushes me away. I feel offended, but I can understand him. And as a mother, I forgive him because I don't know the whole truth about what happened to him. Maybe he's doing this because he just wants to protect me.
The charity that helped Tetiana bring Vlad back says the others left behind in Russian camps are being turned into young Russians